in a Thursday night showdown that you can catch right here on Fox 9 at 7:20. But we're here to count you down to kickoff before the Vikings take on the Steelers tonight with our Fox 9 streaming show, along with Tatum Everett and Gabe Henderson of Vikings Entertainment Network. I'm Hobie Artigue, and guys, just how excited are you? This team is needing a win, but under these lights, it's pretty impressive stuff.
If you're going to need a win, this is the atmosphere you're going to want to do it in, because it's a primetime game. It's Thursday night, a short week to forget about what happened on Sunday, and you couldn't ask for a better fan base to support you and try and drive you to that victory.
There was a game last Sunday? Because I'm still trying to figure out, because this game is the most important game. Primetime purple games, you only get this one time a year. So when you get the opportunity to make plays in front of these lights, in front of this crowd, you got to do that. I'm excited about tonight.
And those uniforms only come out once a year, and it's usually for the games like this under the primetime lights, going with the purple with the gold numbers. But, guys, taking a look at that game against Detroit last week, just 4 days removed from that game, where things just kind of really fell apart toward the end when things were trending in the right direction for the purple, both whenever it comes to the game, but also the playoff standings, too. Gabe, how do you expect them to bounce back tonight?
I think this is a huge bounce-back game. This is a must-win, and I think these guys will come out ready and prepared. You got to think you got 3 or 4 guys coming back that didn't play last week that are starters. They got a little extra juice, and I feel like Mike Zimmer has told his team this week, hey, from here on out, you have to win these games. These are must-wins, and in order to do that, that's the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday Night Football in front of the entire world.
Mike Zimmer's also talked about all week long and really all season long about the fight of this team. This is where you go out and prove that. If you have the fight, if this is what is on the line, if you know you need to go to the playoffs, this is the game you have to win to get there, you got to expect them to come out with a little bit more bite this week.
And the strange part about all of this is that they're playing a very unfamiliar team.
Yeah.
We saw that with the Bengals, we saw that with the Browns, and we also saw that with the Ravens. This is the chance to turn it around against the AFC tonight. What are you expecting against a team that a lot of people really don't know about?
I think this will be a game where these teams will try to figure each other out in the first few drives. It's like, okay, well, we don't know what to expect. It's not like you're playing a divisional team. So it's like, okay, well, maybe we'll take a shot here. Let's see how they play here. And I don't feel like we'll get a true boxing match until the third and fourth drives of the game. So I expect the games to start out slow, but to start picking it up after the third and fourth drive.
No, I mean, that's a good point, because if you think about a short week, not a lot of preparation on this specific team, I think for me, this is more about the Vikings not beating themselves.
Yeah.
Because we've seen that countless times this season.
Countless times. Like, if they need to focus on not making their own mistakes, beating themselves, and shooting themselves in the foot, really, coming from behind or needing to have to come from behind in every single game.
So where would you put the need to win of this game from 1 to 10?
If 11 was on the scale, I will put it as an 11. I think every game is a must-win game. We've said that every week, but I feel like now you start to put your foot on the gas pedal, because you can't lose any more games from here on out. If you want to say that you're a good team, a playoff team at that, you got to start winning these games against a good team in the Pittsburgh Steelers that are starting to come into their own. They beat the Baltimore Ravens last week. Now you got to say, now if you beat this Pittsburgh Steelers team, now you can say we got that on our resume, and now we're a good team going forward.
You think about how we were talking about this team just a week and a half ago. They had just come off those wins, feeling high, and they took, one step forward, 2 steps back. And so it's about jockeying and getting yourself back into that position. And that's what it comes down to at this point. You have to win every game from here on out.
Yeah. Sure, because if the playoffs started tonight, the Vikings would not be involved in the mix right now, something they're trying to get back in that picture later on this season. But for more on this game, let's be real. Florida is playing, and it's going down for real tonight between two teams that would be out of the postseason if things started tonight. And for more on this game, we go down to the field, and that's where Dawn Mitchell is standing by. And Dawn, a lot riding on this one for both of these teams.
Hobie, it's interesting you said riding, because behind me, Florida is getting ready for the halftime show. So if you see me down here with a lot of different lights on me, I'm not at a club, we're downstairs. So during this show, hopefully we're going to peel back the curtain and show you a little bit of what goes on the sidelines. But before we do that, we're keeping our eyes peeled, of course, for a Dalvin Cook sighting. Dalvin says he wants to go today. It will be 11 days out since that separated left shoulder. So he wants to play. Will he? We don't know. Officially listed as questionable, but we know one thing, right? Dalvin Cook, he is a competitor. So if he can play, he is so willing to sacrifice the body even more to try to help them perhaps keep in the playoff picture. So let's give you a little look behind the scenes. So we're going to go this way. Obviously, they're getting ready for the halftime show. We keep an eye. This is like our little runway right here. We are so close to the Vikings bench. Bob, take a little trip with me. Sometimes you can't see this very often, but when I go live for our pregame shows, we are this close. This is where the kickers kick, and then here's the bench right here. And then right now, we have Media Row coming down this way. Bob's a little tethered right here. You got technical difficulties? That's our light. But right down here is where we have ESPN, we've got all of our neighbor media people getting ready to go. We're in the dark right now. And yes, the early bus has come. And so some of the Steelers personnel are on the field. But what's happening at the beginning now is what I call the fashion show. Here comes the Steelers bus. And they come down and they're styling. We love this. I call this the fashion show. They trickle in, they carry their luggage. Some guys casual, always with great bags. That's just for the females out there. I'm always looking at the Louis, and they come strolling in. Now, they have to leave this building the exact same way. And so if they lose, just imagine, they take their suitcases and they're walking this whole runway, and they're past Vikings fans who may have had a liquid beverage or two by the end of the game, and they're usually very cordial. Some of the guys even go right over here to the club, and they get autographs and whatnot. But so we're right down here, right on the field. We get to see everything. We, of course, will keep our eyes peeled. If Dalvin Cook comes out, what other players come out, but we're going to give you the behind-the-scenes look all evening long. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. You heard Dawn allude to it. Dalvin Cook, a potential possibility to play tonight. After he went down on that field in San Francisco, I think a lot of people were like, well, will we see Dalvin Cook for the rest of the year? We might see him 11 days later. How much of an impact would that make on a Vikings team that's going to need some playmakers tonight?
Huge. I mean, you can't say it enough how big Dalvin Cook being back in the game is, just and not just because of his skill set, but because of the veteran leadership he brings in, that fight that we're talking about. He fully believes that this team can continue to win this season and make the playoffs, and having Dalvin back is absolutely key.
I think it's key, but I'm a little concerned. I'm going to be honest here, because you got a guy that, had shoulder problems in 2019, got hurt against that Seattle Seahawks team, and then came back to the playoffs and re-injured his shoulder against the San Francisco 49ers. So Dalvin knows his body better than anybody else does. It's just one of those things that if he's able to get in tonight and he is able to play, I do expect a couple of plays where he's able to get out in space and not have to pass block or not have to run in between the tackles, because you just don't know how good that shoulder is. I'm glad to have him back, first and foremost, but two, you worry and say, like, okay, is this one of those games that he's going to expect 20 to 30 carries? Or
sure.
Maybe it's one of those things where you just put him in to make a play.
And there's a fine line, I think, if you're a coaching staff or if you're a training staff. You have a guy, they're professional athletes. They want to play this game, especially with so much riding on the line right now. But what type of workload percentage-wise are we expecting from Dalvin Cook?
I don't expect his normal workload by any means. But I do think that in crucial moments, maybe not in third down situations, but in first and second, trying to get him out in space and have him make a play. Therefore, he's kind of avoiding as much of the hits as possible.
I think he gets about 30% of the snaps. I think that's a good threshold there to say, like, okay, let's see where he is and let's not hurt him and let's not get him too banged up, because if we do win this game and he does enough, we got a 10-day break, and then we got a division game. So get him enough plays to go in there and make some plays, but still don't put him out there too much. So, yeah, like I said, 30%.
All right, time to be joined by another member. This one, though, a big name and a big personality on Fox Sports, and that is Howie Long. Howie Long joining us tonight to preview this game between the Vikings and the Steelers. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So I have to ask you, this is a team, both teams right now on the outside looking into the playoff picture. You have the Vikings still trying to make up some ground, the Steelers trying to do the exact same. What's kind of the overall overview, if you will, of what's about to happen here tonight in Minneapolis?
Well, I think the Vikings are probably thankful that it's a short week. We played poorly, and obviously the end of that full game last week versus Detroit. They like to erase that from the memory and start this back end of the season the right way versus Pittsburgh here and get a little bit of a break. to me, when you're a player and you play poorly, or as a team you play poorly, you just can't wait to get back on the field. And I think having a short week is big for them. It's a kind of to me, been one of the most perplexing teams in football. You could easily say the Vikings could be a 9 or 10 win football team. They've been outscored, I think, and I have here 63 points in the final 2 minutes and a half and final 2 minutes of the game. No greater example than last week. You beat Green Bay, and then you got Detroit with no timeouts. They drive over 70 yards. Coverage is poor. Angles on tackling. It's been the special teams game. It's hard to put your finger on why this team is losing at end of football games. 3 of those 6 losses come on the final play. So it's a hard team to figure out. I like the talent, like Mike Zimmer. I think not only for the team, but also for the coaching staff, this game goes a long way towards determining all of that.
You mentioned the talent that this team has, and it starts at quarterback, too. And one guy who's taken a lot of criticism, especially in games like this one in primetime, is Kirk Cousins. Do you think that that's a fair assessment or criticism for people? And how do you expect him to play tonight, especially being down Adam Thielen going into this game?
The Thielen loss is a huge loss. Jefferson is, to me, when you have a player that young who great 5 top wide receivers in the NFL are talking about glowing terms. I mean, he's a remarkable player. And let's say if he were playing in Dallas or he playing in New York, or playing in Los Angeles, he'd be even a bigger name. The quarterback is hard to figure out because he puts up numbers year in and year out. The question becomes at the end of the game. It's kind of like with Aaron Rodgers, or and you do versus Green Bay. you make that drive. You put the points up you need versus a team that typically is in the reverse position with Aaron Rodgers inflicting the pain. And then you come back to Detroit, and defensively have the stumble into the game. I think it's a collective kind of issue. It's not necessarily all on the quarterback. I love Dalvin Cook. Matt is going to have to come up big tonight, I think, because I think he's going to be limited on his snaps. He's certainly aiming and trying to play, and how much he can play remains to be seen. But I think they're going to have to run the ball. I think they're going to get T.J. Watt blocked, and I think the way to do that is to play action pass. And in order to do that, you have to run the football. And I think that's the identity of the team. They've got to clean up their coverage. They've got to clean up their tackle angles in the secondary, and that was on full display last week. Final drive versus Detroit. Right?
So I have to ask a guy who's a legend whenever it comes to playing defense on the defensive line. You've watched a lot of T.J. Watt. Right now, he is the leader in sacks in the NFL with 16 in only 10 games. That is just mind-blowing at this point of the year. How do the Vikings go about even stopping a guy? Because not only does he have the speed, he also has the power, too, to get after the quarterback.
Well, I think the guy that checks, your stadium pass should hit him initially. Then I think the guy that's selling, soft drink and peanuts should hit him again, and then he should come in motion and hit him. And I think the back ship, the guy that can't beat you is T.J. Watt, and I think that kind of a player, dominant player, a lot like his brother. Only he plays it in position. It's a different style. He's kind of a longer cut, thin version of JJ. I think the thing that makes him special is his understanding of the significance of the moment. That final play versus Baltimore at the end of the game, going for two points, and that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but he affects that play. He's a disruptive player. Getting him locked is going to be a big key.
All right, Howie Long, appreciate your time. We'll see you tonight on Thursday Night Football here on Fox. All right, that was Howie Long, everybody, a legendary defensive lineman, giving some kudos to T.J. Watt, a guy that the Vikings will have to stop tonight if they want to win this game. But going back to Kirk Cousins, I mean, the talk that's followed him his entire career, games like this and his record. I asked Howie, do you think that is a fair assessment to judge a quarterback?
Yeah, and I mean you're judged off wins and losses, right? This is a win or loss league, and you know the numbers are great, and I think Kirk does just enough to get you there. It's just to the point now where you said, you know, Aaron Rodgers, he can get you there and then win the game. Can Kirk continue to do that, especially in prime time tonight? I guess we got to look to see if that'll happen. I think he can, and I think he will. He has the willpower, he has the team. It's just a fact of, can he do it again?
Sure.
Well, and you got to think about Kirk's mindset in this one. He knows what's on the line. He knows this needs to continue for this team, and he really needs to be the guy that falls on his shoulders at this point, because he is the leader, the franchise name of this team. I don't know. For me, I haven't really, this is my first year at the team, so I haven't seen too much of that Kirk, but this Kirk to me has been off a couple of weeks, and I see him being able to bounce back this week as long as the offensive line is able to keep him clean.
And here's the thing. It's two teams tonight that are number 1 and number 2 in total sacks in the NFL. So a lot's going to be on the line for both offensive lines today. But the big loss, though, Adam Thielen not playing in this game, has the high ankle sprain that he suffered last week in Detroit. How big of an absence? How do you equate or even quantify that?
Yeah, no, for me it's big, and you could see it just in those first two field goal scoring drives in the Lions game. If Adam Thielen's in the game, I think it's almost not guaranteed 2 touchdowns. I won't play that kind of a game. But yeah, at least 1 touchdown, because he has been a constant red zone threat. He's efficient down there. He's always open, makes the tough catches, and Kirk really trusts him. So I do think it's reflected in that you're not all eyes on JJ at that point. So it's a tough blow, but one that I think this receivers team can kind of take as we head into tonight.
And to your point, I actually looked it up before we did the show. 21 of Adam Thielen's last 22 touchdowns were in the red zone.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
That's absolutely
that tells you
insane.
everything you need to know, and I feel like tonight somebody has to step up in the red zone. You already know they're going to double team Justin Jefferson, so maybe that's a Tyler Conklin, somebody who steps up that's a bigger body that can go up and get a jump ball. We saw Kyle Rudolph the past decade. He was our tight end red zone threat. So who's going to be that guy? I think Tyler Conklin is going to be that guy, but Adam Thielen, not having him tonight, that's a huge blow.
That may or may not be Ben Lieber's Player X tonight on Vikings Live.
Yeah,
You'll have to tune in for that. That starts at 6 o'clock on Fox 9. But taking a look at KJ Osborne just a little bit more in depth. He had a great game against Carolina, saved the day in overtime, but after the bye week, he was a little quiet.
Yeah.
Do you think he's ready for a stage like this tonight?
He has to be. He really doesn't have a choice at this point. They are relying on him to be wide receiver number 2 in this game. I think he's ready for it. He has the right mindset for it. I feel like he made such a big leap from last season to this season and really knows he can compete in the NFL because he's seen it happen. He's had the big moments. It's time to wake up that sleeping giant, I guess you could say.
Yeah, you got to wake that up, and I think that's only going to elevate the play of a guy in D.D. Westbrook, too. I feel like at J.J., he's going to elevate the play of K.J. K.J. is going to help D.D. Westbrook. So it's a group effort tonight. Those guys are going to have to combine for D.D. and K.J. They're going to have to combine for at least 100 yards between those two guys if we want to have a chance of winning this game tonight.
And D.D. Westbrook has not caught for more than 20 yards in a single game this season. Granted, that's limited because of opportunity and touches, but what gives you so much confidence in him?
Because when you look at this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, they run a cover 3, which means the seams are open. This Vikings team likes to run 4 verts, and when you run 4 verts, that middle guy is going to be wide open in cover 3 because it's a big gap there. So D.D. Westbrook, he's already a blazer. I can't see anybody on this Steelers team catching him. So I feel like if you get him in space, get him in a place where we know what they're going to run and get him the ball, I feel like it would be a big play for him.
Sound like me on Madden. 4 verts just every single time. Every single time. Throw it up, see what we got.
If they're not open, throw it to the running back.
Well, that's worked at times this season, and it has worked throughout Kirk Cousins' career, just checking it. So check downs are not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people watching the game at home, they see C.J. Ham getting a catch, and it's like, oh, wait, he's got another catch? No. There's actually some benefits to this.
A long handoff.
And speaking of catching it down the seams, C.J. Ham's done that this year, too.
He had a 27-yarder the other day, right? That was great to see. It's awesome to see the love that C.J. Ham gets around the league from guys like Moose Johnston, who we talked to earlier this week on Vikings.com earlier this season. I mean, it's great. It's great to see.
I think C.J. is changing the landscape of tight ends. Him and Kyle Juszczyk, I feel like those are 2 of the most dynamic fullbacks in the NFL. So now you got to when they're out in space, you got to guard them with your linebacker, and they're a liable threat. So I think those guys are just changing the landscape, and more kudos to C.J. going forward.
We'll get into the Vikings backfield in just a little bit, but for now we're going to the tailgate lots, and that's where Jennifer McDermott is standing by. And Jennifer, a warm-ish night tonight here in Minneapolis. Not as cold as it was the last few days, but it looks like people are ready for tonight's game.
Oh, people are tailgating. People are excited. Are you guys all excited for the game? with the SKOL, and there's this guy. What's going on here? Why are you here? You're wearing the wrong colors.
Why am I here? The Steelers are here.
You know, there are two teams that I cannot stand in the NFL. Raiders and the Steelers.
Can I ask why? Let me ask you a question.
Okay, let's hear it.
Why?
Because they're the worst. It's an easy answer. We need some Vikings fans up here. We need to get him out of here. We gotta get some Vikings fans up here. Come on. Let's go Vikings. Let's go. All right. What's your name?
Johnny.
Are you excited for the game tonight?
I am excited.
Come on over here. Are you guys excited for the game?
Heck yeah!
No, Detroit game. That's the thing of the past. We're in the present. We're in the now right now.
Short memory.
Yeah.
memory.
So, what's the score tonight? What's the final score?
27-21.
Who wins?
Vikings.
Vikings! Yes! All right, well, thanks for letting me, borrow the whole SKOL thing. Hey, Steelers fan! Thanks for having fun with me. You're the only Steeler fan I'll ever like. You're okay, too. You're all right, too. I like you, too. You're okay. You're all right, too. Hey, how are you guys tonight? Are you guys... Oh, we got more Steelers fans. What is this? We need Vikings fans here. Let's go find a Vikings fan. Where are we right now? Excuse me. We're on live TV. Are you ready for the game tonight?
Absolutely.
What's your name?
Trish.
What's your choice of beverage?
Well, not usually this, but.
Not usually. I mean, you got to tailgate, right? You got to have fun. You got to tailgate. You got to cheer for the Vikings. Let's go. There's a lot of people out here in this area. We got too many Steelers fans. Kick them out of here. Can't do that. But yeah, it's a great time, Hobie and friends and company. A lot of people out here enjoying the weather. This weather is pretty nice considering it's December in Minnesota. Temperature is not too bad. And of course, if you're tailgating, you're going to have a little bit of some of us maybe, not me because I'm working, but some of us maybe have a beer coat on right now. But hey, Hobie and company, we're rooting for the Vikings. I'll try and sweep the Steelers out of here. It's too many.
Okay.
I don't like it.
Nice.
Thank you.
Get him out of here.
You're doing the people of Minnesota a service. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. But you look at the weather that's coming up in the next few days. I mean, it was what? It felt like 17 below. Today it's like 40 degrees. It's supposed to snow tomorrow, and then it's going to be 50 next week.
We're all Southerners here, and I still have yet to get used to this weather.
But you know what? That roller coaster is like the Vikings season. I mean, that is Minnesota in a nutshell.
I mean, you went there.
The weather and the Vikings just up and down. Hopefully we're headed toward a high note, though.
But at least it kind of the low right here the high for the good weather is right now, which is nice. So tonight, all the fans out there, it's so awesome to see. They're starting to come in through the U.S. Bank Stadium doors. So I mean, look, we all knew that the Steelers fans would travel to this. They are one of the historic franchises in the NFL. They have large fan bases. They're going to be loud in here, but it's all about the Vikings fans being louder because Ben Roethlisberger at the line. Got to disrupt him.
We need some purple towels in here tonight.
Oh, purple towel.
Oh, a terrible towel and a purple towel going? That'd be
What
nice.
would you call it?
Nice.
I will think about that before.
We'll think about that. For now, though, we'll go to Dawn Mitchell. She's live on the field with more previewing tonight's game between the Vikings and the Steelers. Hey, Dawn.
Hey, I was hoping to catch Jennifer because earlier today I did buy her a stocking stuffer, and it just goes fittingly with her assignment today. This beer makes me awesome. She is awesome, but I think she needs that on her water bottle going through the parking lots tonight. But I'll make sure it gets couriered out to her or something. But remember I told you last time just how close we are to the field. Right behind me, Kirk Cousins getting ready. And he's warming up. That is Adam. He works with the equipment. And, of course, we see everyone getting ready here. But I love these early parts where they warm up because this is where you see their true personalities, right? They joke, they laugh, they have a good time. Plus, they also get warmed up, and you get to see a different side of them. Now at the end zone here, the rest of the guys, we call this the early crew. The early bird gets the worm. Everyone has their own unique style of warming up, and over the years, you really get to see it. Some guys have their songs on. Some guys joke around. You see the offensive line, Brian O'Neill. They like to stay loose and kind of get with it. And passing right in front of us is Andrew Janoko and the assistant coaches. So it's just a time where they start warming up, they get in the groove. Some are superstitious, some are not, and so you get to see the different personalities. We have CJ Ham coming right out here. Hey, CJ. See, they just all kind of come out, and they're in this really good mood. We have Aaron Andrews from Fox right here. We're on the big station tonight, as you know. Love Aaron. Aaron, you know, or you may not, used to live here in Minnesota when her now husband played for the Wild. So, Jarrett Stoll. So now she loves coming back here. But right now, they're starting to come on out. DJ Wanham and company, they trickle out. So it's kind of a nice, relaxing atmosphere. Some people think, oh, before a game, they're tense and they come out and they're all ready to go. Not this portion. This portion is fun. You saw CJ Hayden. So these guys having a good time, getting warmed up. Not as a good time as the tailgating lot, but, you know, here, no alcohol in the field, but in these suites, for sure. So we'll let the guys trickle on out. We'll get you a little more peel behind the curtain, and you see them come on out. So we'll send it back to you guys.
All right, you see Rashad Hill right there. We were just discussing it. It's going to be interesting to see how the Vikings play the offensive line. Of course, last week they put Oli Udoh in there. Could it be Rashad Hill tonight, especially with how threatening the Steelers are up front? I mean, that's kind of a question.
Yeah, that's a great question. And do you go with a veteran guy or do you go with a guy that's got his first start at left tackle last week? Rashad Hill has proven early in the season that he can still get the job done. But Oli Udoh probably is a little bit more athletic. So I think these coaches, they're figuring out, okay, who gives us the best matchup against T.J. Watt? And whoever that is, that's who we're going to go with. Because I put any kind of money, T.J. Watt isn't going to blitz from Brian O'Neill's side. He's going to go the opposite side and try to get his sacks on that side. So you got to go with the best man.
I agree with your point about Hill, that earlier this season he really proved himself. The Vikings did face a lot of tough defensive fronts. I remember doing shows being like, oh my gosh, we've got Myles Garrett, then we have Chandler Jones, and then J.J. Watt, and all these names in the beginning of the season, and that's when Darisaw was injured in the front of the half of the season. So now you're like, okay, we have to deal with this once more. Yeah. Let's go back to what worked for us earlier, and I think the experiment from last week might have been put to bed.
We will find out tonight whenever these two teams kick off at 7:20 on Fox 9. But talking about the run game, the offensive line is going to have to pave the way. And we'll show you some of the numbers because the Pittsburgh Steelers have not been great, shall we say, against the run whenever we're talking about their defense. They're great at getting to the quarterback, but whenever it comes to getting to running backs, a lot of teams have put up some big numbers over the last few weeks especially.
Yeah, the Steelers,
go ahead.
You go ahead.
I mean, if you look at this, 925 yards in the past 5 games. Like that isn't a defense a run defense that's going to make you lose sleep at night. And how they're giving up their yards is outside. They're not giving up yards in the middle. You got a guy in Cam Hayward, Chris Wormley, who honestly are really good at the defensive tackle position. C.J. Watt, as good as he is, he's not good at run defense. And the Bengals, what they did in that 198-yard rushing game is that they just ran it outside and said, hey, stop it. Let your linebackers run sideline to sideline and stop us. And look at Dalvin Cook right here.
You see why he wants to play tonight if he gets the chance.
So, I mean, putting Dalvin on the outside, there's no linebacker on this Pittsburgh Steelers team that can catch him if he's running full speed. So if he's playing tonight, I'm excited.
5.4 yards per carry in the last 5 games.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're worse than the league in yards per carry allowed with 4.8. So that tells you everything you need to know.
This is exactly what Mike Zimmer wants to do. Like,
run the ball,
this is his
play some good defense.
scenario at this point. Like, let's run the ball, establish that game, and then it'll open up the lanes for JJ or DD or KJ. And so, I mean, this could set up to be very good as long as you establish that run early on.
Granted, we can't tell how the shoulder is doing. The legs seem to be working just fine, though, as Dalvin Cook warms up to prepare to try to play tonight in this game. But also, we mentioned speed. Gabe, you said going to the outside. Could this be, if Dalvin is limited, the Kene Nwangwu game?
Oh, if you get Kene Nwangwu on a sweep, I wouldn't say 6, but I put any kind of money he's going to get an explosive, which is 20 yards or more. They have struggled all year long, the Pittsburgh Steelers, with stopping the outside zone and sweeps. They don't have the linebackers to do that. In a 3-4 defense, you put a receiver to pin your outside linebacker. Now you got 10 yards of space, and you don't have anybody touching your running back until 10 yards down the field. So Kene Nwangwu, we've seen what he's done with the kickoff return. I think if he gets the ball in his hand with the sweep, goodbye.
Wouldn't it be great to see a little bit more offensive, explosive power? I think that's really something that has been a little bit absent this season. Yeah. Earlier on, everyone complaining about not throwing the ball straight down the field and wondering about this. So explosive plays, like you said, Gabe, I think would be really nice to see. I'm sure fans would be pumped about that.
Yeah, and getting those in the run. They've given up 45 explosives in the run game, which is the third worst in the NFL. So this Vikings team, they see that, and they say, like, okay, they're susceptible to the run, so let's get that going early.
They've been good at getting to the quarterbacks, stopping running backs, a completely different story for this team. And I want to see some creativity, kind of to your point right there, because that's something people wanted to see earlier in the year. I won't say this is panic time for the Purple, but it certainly is crunch time for this team. And I think now's the time to just kind of start throwing it all out on the field.
I mean, what do you got to lose at this point? You really need to win. So if it doesn't work, throw it against, what is it, the spaghetti trick? You throw it against the wall, see if it sticks. See what sticks.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a couple of trick plays tonight. Yeah. I think Clint Kubiak has a few up his sleeve, and why not do it against a team in the Pittsburgh Steelers where it's a short week. You get those guys guessing. They don't know what we're going to run because they haven't played here in 16 years. We haven't played them in so long. So it's just like, let's just throw it out there, throw the kitchen sink, and see what comes back.
Maybe that's a page in the playbook, though, the spaghetti plays. Spaghetti plays. See what sticks.
Plays, yes.
Looking at the Vikings defense right now, though, last week, granted, at some point, it is inexcusable to lose to a winless up to that point in the season type team. However, Anthony Barr didn't play, Eric Kendricks didn't play, Patrick Peterson didn't play. Which of those three do you think is the biggest addition heading into tonight?
Heading into tonight?
Yeah.
I think it's Anthony Barr. He is the play caller. He wears the green dot. I think he is good with the run. You've got Najee Harris, who's a patient runner. He's going to find the seams. He's going to find his gaps. He wants to find that. He's not going to, outdo you in speed. He's going to find his open lane. And so I think Anthony Barr is the most important factor.
I'll go Eric Kendricks because he can do he can play both the run and the pass. And we know Ben Roethlisberger, he loves play action passes. He loves the run pass option. So Eric Kendricks, one of the most smart, savvy linebackers in the NFL. I think he's good enough to confuse Ben Roethlisberger in the middle and both play the run.
And I'm going to go with the third option. I'm going to go with Patrick
like
Peterson on this one. That way we can all take.
There you go.
And I'll tell you this.
Why not?
Look, Deontay Johnson has been great at getting into the end zone, especially recently. I mean, he has 6 touchdowns on the season. I believe a majority of them have come in the last few weeks. But the guy who's in the middle of the field that gets him into the red zone is Chase Claypool.
Yeah.
He has been just an explosive player, and they really need that shutdown type of corner, especially tonight. Not to mention, Pat Freiermuth has been playing some really good football at tight end. Yeah. That goes back to the linebackers. Najee Harris catches the ball coming out of the backfield. But how do you begin to stop Big Ben?
Well, I think you play 2 high safeties. You make Big Ben use the middle of the field to beat you. Because when he starts throwing to the outside to his receivers, that is 6'4", and another guy that runs a 4.3. I don't think we have the cornerbacks to be able to stop that one-on-one every single play. So you use your safety help over the top, in which we've done all year at a high level. Mike Zimmer loves to run a cover 2 defense, 2-man. So this bodes for us well when playing a guy in Big Ben who likes to stretch the field a little bit.
And Tatum, whenever you look at his career numbers, this guy's a shoe-in for the Hall of Fame, a
Easily.
Super Bowl winner, top 8 in multiple categories throughout his career. A lot of people want to say he likes to check it down a lot, especially this season toward the tail end of his career, but he can't stretch the field if he needs to.
Oh, I mean, Big Ben, we've seen what he's capable of. Last week, 3/4 of subpar play, and then he turns it on in the fourth quarter, and there they are back in the game. And so you just never know, and you can never count Ben Roethlisberger out, no matter how many times you have gotten to him or rattled him throughout the game. And that's what worries me about this defense, especially in this matchup, is because in these final minutes of both halves, there have been questionable periods of time, questionable periods of play. You can't give Ben Roethlisberger that type of opening. I mean, Jared Goff looked amazing right then.
Yeah, I mean, they've scored 51 points in the fourth quarter in the last 3 weeks. So this is a team that starts slow, but they finish strong. We're a team that we start fast, but don't finish strong. So you got to switch that around and play a full 4 quarters today.
All right.
Like the Bengals.
Exactly.
I mean, you think about what a hole they had put themselves in, they could never overcome it. So.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Jennifer McDermott. She is in the tailgate lots once again. Things continue. Oh, look!
Oh, my goodness!
Santa and the elves
nice.
came to visit from the North Pole. Hey, Jennifer.
That's amazing. He's real.
North Dakota. No, Santa, you are
close
from
enough.
the North Pole.
I am from the North Pole.
Yeah. And where are you guys from?
We're from the North Pole. Harvey, North Dakota.
Same as the North Pole, right? So you're Santa Claus. Am I allowed to have a Christmas, wish?
Of course you are. Of course.
I've been a good girl.
I know already.
We need a Vikings win tonight. Are they going to win?
They're going to win, and over is going to be over 43.5.
Woo! Now, what do you all do for Santa Claus tonight with the Vikings?
I fixed his sleigh.
His sleigh? Okay, what do you do?
I was in on that too. We were all helping out. Wingman.
Wingman! He has Mrs. Claus at home.
Step Mrs. Claus.
Step Mrs. Claus? Oh my goodness. Okay. Now, which elf is the one that's in charge of getting the beers?
What was that?
Which elf is in charge of getting the beers?
I have 26 rounds left.
Wow! Are you going to share?
Oh, all the time.
All the time. Because that's what elves do.
Friendly elf.
A friendly elf. Okay, so who's going to win tonight and what's the score?
All right, we got Vikings going up, I'd say 28-14.
Oh, yeah.
We bet the over, so hopefully they're going over.
And they'll cover. Very important. And, question, how do we feel about the Steelers? Steelers suck! Ew, don't like them. No. I don't like the Steelers. You guys, they're on the naughty list, right?
Steelers are on the naughty list.
Ben Roethlisberger is definitely
Steal out of Cole. Cole's dirty.
Yeah, ew, we don't like them. Well, thanks for talking with me, elves and Santa Claus. Oh yeah, there we go. Enjoy the game. All right, who do we have over here? We're gonna keep wandering. We got a big old party going on. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm intruding. Okay, I'm sorry, excuse me. I have to point this out. What's going on right here?
The Vikings going on, that's what's going on.
Oh yeah, SKOL. Did you make this hat?
Yes.
What'd you do? Get like a foam?
Foam and carve and paint. Throw one away, do it again.
How long did that take you?
3 years.
Wow, impressive. I also like the festive lights. Very nice. Merry Christmas. All right, so we got a lot of party going on over here. We're in the Longhouse right now, and we got ourselves a little Vikings fan. Is it okay if you go on TV? What's your name? That's a pretty name. Are you ready for a Vikings win?
Say yeah.
And who is this?
I'm her uncle.
Your uncle has the wrong jersey on.
I know.
Yes. Ew, what is wrong with this? Did you tell him it's the wrong jersey?
Yes.
And he just said, okay. He's going to be on Santa's bad list, right?
And Santa had presents our house.
Yeah. You're on the good list. You're on the nice list, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And who is this right here?
Maddox back.
Oh, and what jersey are you wearing?
Smith.
Ooh, let's see the back. Turn around. Oh, yeah. Very nice. And who's going to win tonight?
I really don't know, but I think Vikings are gonna win.
Hey, at least he's honest. I think the Vikings are going to win, too. Hey, thanks for chatting with me, man. Thanks for chatting with me. Woo-hoo! We'll go ahead and... I can't fist bump the Steelers fan. Sorry. No, I'm not. All right, we're going to send it right back on to you, Hobie and company. We're at the Longhouse. It's a great time. It's a fun time.
It looks like it. That looks fantastic. Y'all, I have seen it all.
That's amazing.
Santa giving betting tips.
That's amazing.
I've seen it all. Like this is.
He might actually know a little something inside information, right?
When she asked which elf bought the rounds for the guys, and he said, I got 26 rounds left, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a long night for those guys.
The elves can party.
Yeah, they
Yes, they can. Well, it's going to be a party here tonight at US Bank Stadium. Hopefully a good one for the Purple as they take on a Steelers team. We've talked about the Vikings being a roller coaster type team. How about the Steelers? They started off the season very slow, got hot. I believe they won 4 straight games, but the last 4, 1, 2, and 1. What do you make of this Pittsburgh team?
It's a tough team to figure out right now because you don't know which one, like you said, is going to exactly show up. But again, Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in the league. He hasn't had his job for, 15-plus years for any other reason. His guys will be ready to play. The Vikings just cannot beat themselves, as I said earlier.
Yeah, and this is a team that, we know the Steelers, how their bread and butter is running the ball. They haven't been able to do that. I think they're in the latter half as far as yards per game and yards per rush. So when they can't run the ball and you force Big Ben, who's a little bit older, to win those games, it's a little bit tough. So they're trying to figure this thing out. I think they found a recipe for success, and that's getting the skill players going early, in which for our guys, we got to stop that.
And you see the quarterbacks warming up right now for the Vikings. I really do think this game does come down to whichever quarterback is protected better and which one has a more prolific day.
Easily. Because, I mean, Kirk and Ben need the time. They're not similar but in their play style, but they need that type of time to make the plays that they need to make to win games. And keeping them clean is going to be so key. I do like, and I think it favors Kirk in the lack of mistakes he's had this season. He really is a very clean player at this point, and I think that's something that this defense can take advantage of, is because Big Ben can throw a few, picks here and there.
And I'll give the edge to Kirk when it comes to accuracy also. When you give those guys time, Big Ben will still throw a couple of interceptions. Kirk is more a slice and dice you up if you give him time. So I think if you keep Kirk protected, and I think a lot of that protection is going to come from him having to improv a little bit. He's going to have to make a few plays on his feet, throw on the run, and use his feet in order for these guys to be able to make plays down the field. Ben, we know he's a guy that's been able to improv in the past. He's a little bit older, can't run as much, so he's got to rely on his arm strength and his legs to do that. So I give the edge to Kirk tonight.
Last week against Jared Goff, people were talking, look, we didn't get any pass rush on the Lions quarterback, especially toward the end of that game. They are shorthanded on the defensive line right now. However, the two starting defensive tackles from the beginning of the season are in place right now. How do you go about attacking him?
Well, those two interior guys have to get pressure. Michael Pierce and Dalvin Tomlinson, who's ever lined up in front of their center Kendrick Green, you got to dominate. The guy is a rookie. You're a veteran. You got to win that match. DJ Wanham, who's on the outside, the left tackle, is a rookie. You have to win that match. So I think that favors us when it comes to stopping their run up the middle. And I think the interior pass rush is going to allow some of our Kenny Willekes and DJ Wanhams in the world to get some of those coverage sacks that we so desperately I can't get my words out, desperately need. Those guys have to have a day-to-day, and I think they will.
Well, those two guys in the middle were, I don't want to say rusty, but it had been a bit since they had seen game action, especially Michael Pierce. So Dalvin Tomlinson had a couple of weeks off. So I think now that they're going to be, back together again, they've had a game under their belt just on Sunday. I'm sure more than anything, those two guys wanted that short week to come out here and be like, we're better than this. We've seen that we play better than this earlier this season. And now that we're back and we're feeling it, we're back, the dynamic duo returns, I think that'll be key tonight too.
And this isn't a Steelers offensive line that gets pushed down the field. I don't think they're built to get pushed down the field because they're so young. So for a defensive line in the Vikings, when you understand that, it's like, well, since they can't push us, we're going to push them back. And I think that bodes well for our entire team. Those guys, winning the trenches every week is how you win a game, but those guys will be a key factor in us coming out on top tonight.
And we'll see if Anthony Barr rushes the quarterback today. I mean, that was your player to watch whenever we were chatting defense earlier. And this is the first time this season that Anthony Barr, Michael Pierce, and Dalvin Tomlinson will be on the field together on defense.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Go ahead.
I was listening to Andre Patterson talk on the radio this week, and he's like, we've had 4 or 5 Pro Bowlers out last week. Like, now we've got them back. So his confidence in his team also is there because of the fact that these veterans that missed last week weren't able to be there to perform.
We've had a different starting defensive lineup the past 8 weeks. So the fact that this is the healthiest that we've been all season long, I think that bodes well for our entire team. There's no excuses now. You got all your guys back as the last stretch of the season. Eric Kendricks, Anthony Barr, they're kind of healthy. They didn't play last week, so they kind of got a week off. Patrick Peterson, he got a week off. So these guys are coming in. Yeah, you're going to be nicked up a little bit, but they have fresh legs compared to the Steelers team that they had a hard-fought matchup against this Baltimore Ravens team. And granted, they did win, but you got to get off a game, travel on a Wednesday, and then wake up in a new city to play a game. I think we have that favor.
And to your point about squeaking by the Ravens, because they did. If Mark Andrews gets 2 hands on a football, that's a loss. That's a losing Steelers team that's coming into this building.
Yeah, and that's the NFL for you. The margin of error is so small. I got a couple of pictures on my phone of how many, basically, I think it was the 2 touchdowns last week, how far we were away from just tipping the ball. We were probably like a half an inch from Harrison Smith tipping the ball or Xavier Woods getting a hand in there to knock out the second touchdown. The margin of error is so minuscule in the NFL.
I feel like we don't really need to tell fans that, though, because they have felt that all season long, how small that margin of error is by so many close games. I lost track at this point. It's 11 of 12 or something along those lines, where we've been in one score games,
Crazy.
1 possession games. It's been
led by 7 in every one.
That's crazy. That's even crazier.
And here's the thing. That stat keeps coming up and coming up.
Yes.
You think this team isn't ready to just put that one to bed?
Yeah, and why not do it tonight, right? In front of your home
Under the
fans,
lights.
under the lights. Like, this is the biggest stage of the NFL football in the regular season other than Sunday or Monday night football. Like, this is
get to kick off
everybody's
the
watching
week.
this game.
You know, that's not the stat, though, that I'm most curious or most desperately wanting to see change. It's that end of the second quarter stat. That final 2 minutes where they always seem to score. Because every week I feel like I look at the TV and I'm watching and I'm like, not this time. Not this time. Come on, not
The
this time.
TV's still intact, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
No,
All right, safety of the television set. Okay.
Of course,
That's
no.
the thing.
Or I'm here, so I'm like in the press box keeping my mouth shut. So
Yeah,
Don't break the TVs here.
Yeah, the TVs here, they cost a little bit of money. So
Little bit,
hopefully
little bit.
we'll maybe fix up some TVs and clean some TVs today because we finally got a win here at home.
We've talked about Ben Roethlisberger. We've talked a lot about the aspects of this Steelers team. Of their position players on offense, which one scares you the most heading into tonight?
Deontay Johnson is mine. Was
Yeah,
that what you were going to
took
say?
that- I can find another one.
No, I want to. Or you can
We can all.
Yeah, I got a
Or
few.
you can expand on it.
I mean, we
I
could have the
just-
same person.
Well, he just has really found his game. Ben Roethlisberger is a guy or a quarterback who relies on trust with the player so much, and I think he has earned Ben Roethlisberger's trust. He makes those catches that Big Ben is looking for, and for me, just his athleticism and the ability to win on 50-50 balls is why Deontay Johnson is the most dangerous player for me.
Yeah, I would go Deontay Johnson too, but I got to go Chase Claypool. He's a big receiver that can run. We haven't played many tall receivers that can actually run and stretch the field. Granted, he's not off to the start that he wants to have, but he's still a liable threat whenever you put him on the field. Deontay Johnson, we know he's a game changer whenever he gets the ball. But Chase Claypool is a guy, whenever you get him the ball, or whenever you got to go up in the red zone or a 50-50 ball that's up in the air, chances are he's going to come down with the ball. So, I don't know how you stop him other than double teaming him. But if you double team him, you got to double team Deontay Johnson.
Sure.
So he's a guy that does make me wonder a little bit.
And I really want to go with Najee Harris just because he can catch the ball coming out of the backfield
Oh, yeah.
so well. But Eric Kendricks has been just such a dominant force at linebacker going sideline to sideline. I'm going to go with Pat Freiermuth.
Okay.
Yeah.
5 touchdowns in the last 6 games.
He's
The
good.
rookie out of Penn State has really
he's
turned
good.
it on. And there's Chase Claypool right there as we get you ready for Thursday Night Football between the Steelers and the Vikings. But for more on this game, let's go back to the field. That's where Dawn Mitchell is standing by, getting a front row seat of these guys as they warm up for this game under the lights. Hey, Dawn.
Hey, you guys, yes, as you see behind me, Justin Jefferson is out there, and you know, with Adam Thielen out, everyone's going to be looking at Jets to have a big game. Still keeping our eyes peeled for Dalvin Cook. We have not seen him come out yet, so hopefully he will come out, kind of test that shoulder, and get things done. As you can see right behind here, things are starting to get a little busier than before, and even out here, a lot of the fans. We see a little mix of the fans at the 360 Club, so a lot going on. It's starting to get busy because it is prime time purple down here on the field. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. Kickoff, of course, between the Vikings and the Steelers coming up at 7:20 on Fox 9. But, guys, about a minute left in the show. Your final thoughts before we head on over to our coverage on Fox 9.
No, you go first. You got this.
Final thoughts. Run the ball effectively. If you can get that going, everything else opens up. We know this is a Steelers team that you can run the ball on them, but if you can't run the ball tonight, granted, you're not going to be able to do anything else. So get that going early, whether that's Madison, Dalvin, or Kurt, even extending the play and let everything take its course from there.
Don't play from behind. This team has done that after getting large leads. In the first and second quarters, you see them with so much confidence, and it just fades. I really want to see them string together a full 60-minute game where it's not dominance, but it's efficiency. It's
Sure.
not making mental mistakes. It's not penalties. I want to see a clean game because this is when you need it the most. This is the moment right now.
Gotta have it. Gotta have this one tonight.
I'm not trying to have hyperbole or anything. I
But
really.
no, whenever
Preaching to the choir.
when you're talking about facts, this game, in theory, is a game that they need to win to get into the playoffs because right now they are the 9 seed, and a lot of teams ahead of them right now are continuing to win.
Yeah, and when you look at those other teams that are continuing to win, they got a tough schedule also. So if we control our own destiny and win these games out, I feel like some of those other teams in Washington and Philly, they'll start to beat themselves, and we can continue to make a push for
A lot
that
of
playoff.
schedule watching going on.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm looking for sure.
Absolutely, especially whenever you have a 49ers team that got a win
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago. That kind of magnifies that one a little bit more. But it all starts tonight for the Purple as they try to make a push toward the playoffs. We count you down to kickoff coming up on Vikings Live over on Fox 9. But for Tatum Everett and Gabe Henderson, I'm Hobie RT. Thank you for joining us on Fox9.com. Kickoff again between the Vikings and Steelers coming up at 7:20 on Fox 9.
Partying too hard at Bella.